get back to that. Re-railing this train.
I know.
Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. You probably are. Hey, that's why we like you. Great week for many reasons for this podcast. Not great. It's sad in a way, but it's also very exciting. This is Brian's last post or pre-child episode, as we are recording 2 days before his lovely wife is being induced.
Yeah, so all future episodes will have a screaming baby in the background.
Yeah, it's all the rage. It's all the rage. And so yeah, baby could come today. Chickpea could show up today, but it's probably likely we'll see the 26th of June.
Yeah, so 26th we're going in, and 27th is probably when it'll happen. So we'll see.
Getting induceried.
Yeah, I feel okay saying that on here because no one's going to hear this episode until Monday.
Totally.
There's not a chance we don't have a baby on Monday.
Yeah. My what do they call it? Induction?
Yeah.
If it's like the noun.
Yeah.
Like inducery.
Like the cooktop. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. But it's like when people are like, "Oh, I deduced this." I'm like, "Did you use your deducery?" My go-to fake word besides John, but that's a real word. But yeah, this is a great episode. We're drinking Found North Batch 9, baby.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited about this because you have had Batch 9 because you couldn't hold it in. You had to share it at your bottle share.
That's true.
But I was able to hold it in. I didn't crack this lid. But then the funny thing is that Found North sent us some sample bottles. So I'll start with the small guy.
Nice.
And then I will kick into that like my other batches of 7 and 8. Really excited to crack into that one too. So
yeah, definitely.
So I have a few thoughts. But before that, we'll talk about business. Hey, I'm loving how people are commenting on YouTube. Keep it up. And those who haven't yet, please comment on YouTube. We love that crap. Give us a thumbs up while you're at it. And that's the business for this week. Brian, I really wanted to talk about this all week since we last recorded. And maybe it has a little, no, tell me how you're doing first, and then I'll crack into the convo.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing well, as my dad would request that I say. Instead of good. Yeah. We're very well prepared. I feel good. We were actually totally ready on the previous Friday. We had an appointment that my mom pointed out, like, it is not impossible that you go in for a checkup and they just say, okay, you're going to the hospital.
Yeah.
So we had the car fully packed up. We had changes of clothes and all the stuff we needed.
Diapers.
Ready to go. Yeah. Ready to go to the hospital and everything. And of course we didn't, as I'm here telling you now. So we came on home.
She's in the other room right now. We named her Chickpea for real.
Hold on, let me pick her up real quick.
Yeah. Crying, baby.
Yeah, right. Just screaming into the mic.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're like still got everything packed up and everything.
That's
still
cool.
Got everything ready to go. We're ironing out some final details on insurance and stuff like that now, and coverage, and trying to understand how much it's supposed to actually cost, just to make sure we're not getting hung out to dry here and everything. Yeah. But fortunately, we've been well prepared for this for a long time, and we've got the funds and we're ready to go. So we're more excited than we are scared or anything, but still feels like we got a lot of stuff to, make sure is going to go well when it all goes down.
You know what's a crazy feeling is like being handed a child and say, okay, you take care of them for the night.
I know.
And you're like, what do I do? Like, I remember like Beck was born at 11 p.m. And they're like, okay, now go to bed. And like, but
wake up every 2 hours.
You. Like, what's
yeah.
that?
But wake up every 2 hours and blah, blah, blah,
exactly.
blah.
Yeah. And it was, dude, I'll tell you this, I'm not even ashamed to say this or have any hesitation saying this. I'm not a woman, never been a woman day in my life.
You're not ashamed to say that?
No, not ashamed to say that. but I am but no one tells you how non-intuitive in general breastfeeding is.
Oh, right.
And like how hard it is when it doesn't work as you hoped it would.
Mhm.
So prep, Sam for that. She might, kick it off with a bang. She might be amazing at it. But just as a father, like speaking to you, be prepared to support your baby and your wife because
Yeah.
it is not in general easy to work out.
Yeah.
Like with Beck, it was like, here's the thing. I have this baby. I want to feed this baby. This baby is crying because they're hungry, but it's just not working right now.
Yeah.
And so they
Right. And
have like breastfeeding, like nursing, whatever you call it, like
counseling
training
groups.
people, like like specialists that'll come in, and like even insurance typically pays for like a free session or two with a nursing specialist.
Yeah.
So that being said, it is really stressful, especially for a woman when you're like, I love this child. I want to feed this child, but this baby's not getting food.
Right.
So be prepared for that. It might happen. Heck, it might not happen. But like
Yeah.
we hear that it is very common, like probably more
Yeah.
common than not, especially for the first child.
Right.
So,
And psychologically, I can see how
oh
that
yeah,
would,
it
like,
messes with you. Yeah.
just let me do the thing that women
Yes.
are
Like
supposed to
just
do.
eat.
And
I
it's
want you
like
to be happy. Like
just dehumanize you a little bit when
exactly.
you feel
Yeah.
like you can't perform the function that's supposed to just happen naturally. I totally get it.
And then you get
And
worried, like, what will this always be like that? Like
right.
will they never take, the milk? And like, dude, it's like multi-level stressful if that were to
Yeah.
happen. So
And
just
I've definitely seen a lot of stuff from YouTube channels and TikTok channels
mhm,
and things like that, where first time dads, like, what are your responsibilities? And like
that's good.
majority of them are like,
Psychological.
take care of your wife,
Yeah.
refill your wife's water because she
Oh
needs to stay
yeah.
hydrated, make sure
Wake
she's
up.
got a yeah.
Like even if you're sleeping, like wake up every 15 minutes and be like, "Do you need anything?" Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she'll love
Be
that.
prepared for no no sleep. Be prepared for a little sleep. It's very
Right, right,
unrealistic to say you will get zero sleep, but
right.
just be prepared that it's not going to be fun for a little bit.
Sleep is actually the worst thing. Like, I'm ready and
Mhm.
I'll do what it takes, but sleep is the number one thing that like we love and prize, and we
Nice.
like normal nights for us, no child, eat like 8.5 hours minimum. On a weekend,
Mhm.
we'll go to bed at like 8,
Mhm.
8:30 and
Yeah.
like sleep so that we get like 9.5 hours of sleep on a
Nice.
weekend. We're well aware that the time for that is over, and my ability to adjust to that might be the hardest thing that I have
Yeah.
through with in the future.
No, that makes sense. It's good to recognize
Poopy
that.
diapers,
Like
I'll clean anything, man.
Heather and I were open to a third child until Gray was born, and we're like, I can't go through this stage again. Like I personally,
Mhm.
I was like losing it, like basically wanting to beat my head against a wall, like legit,
Yeah,
and I was like, I can't mentally go through this again.
yeah,
And it was probably more me than Heather. Like one, she's got a lot more capacity for that mentally than I do. But there were times where I was just like, I don't know what to do, and I am like freaking out. And it
yeah.
wasn't like, oh, I have a comfortable boundary. It's like, no, no, I was basically like not crazy, and the baby was safe and everything, but I was like not hard, but I was kind of banging my head against the wall. Like I literally, like I do not know what to do right now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's that. But
So I'm
it's hard.
excited.
Yeah, yeah. So, but then the thing is, it's like, I'm a believer in God, and I think God said, I'm gonna bring this hard time with something amazing. And he said, this is gonna be a tough time, but you now have a new thing to love.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the words God said. You have this
Yeah.
new thing to love.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Very
but
eloquent.
yeah, and even like I believe in evolution, for the record, people, and even evolutionarily, it works together. It's like,
Right.
yes, this sucks, but like especially for women, they're just like, I love this child immediately,
Yeah.
And you know what happens in the womb? You just start falling in love with this child within you. But it's just like it's just meant to coincide the great and the really hard. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah, but then there's the thing, like I talked to a lot of dudes and um they're like, I didn't connect with my child. You know,
Right.
loving wise. It took a few months and I'm like, that sucks. But I sort of understand it because Beck and I was like, I love this child. Like, this is amazing. But Gray, I wouldn't say it was like not quick, but it was a little bit slower than Beck.
Yeah.
It was
Interesting.
just like, yeah, it wasn't immediate, but it probably was like a few days. And I mean that it's not like I didn't love my child, but it's just like I didn't feel that connection yet. And
Well,
it took a little bit longer with Gray.
you probably were also more stressed because you already had, more
Yes, and had
tasks
to
and
think
things
about her
to deal with.
and
Yeah.
assist with her and all these
And
things. Yeah.
couldn't give her your undivided attention because you
Mhm.
have another child that you have to keep,
Honestly, that's what it was. Like looking
Yeah.
back in retrospect, it was the fact that I was balancing two children, even if just in my mind,
Yeah.
and showing each one of them the love and care that they needed
That makes sense.
was very stressful for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's good. You're probably only gonna have one. So
Yes, actually, that is the plan.
yep.
I'll say that publicly on the podcast.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, but probably is a pretty open word.
Okay, well,
Never
yeah, I
know,
mean, I can't
dude. There are
until the
women
medical
that can get.
procedures are done, I can't honestly vouch for anything.
Yeah, I mean, they're Irish twins are a real thing. Like some women can straight up get pregnant in a few months after having a
Oh,
baby.
dang. Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I've never heard
dude,
that
and they're
term before,
proud of
though.
it. Yeah,
Irish twins?
is that what it's called? It's
I don't know.
probably
I've never.
probably gonna hurt someone's feelings, but
Yeah. Everyone in
um,
Ireland just grabbed their pitchforks.
yeah, like screw you guys. I know you run on Irish whiskey, but
Yeah, it's okay. We never drink Irish whiskey anyway, so.
yeah, exactly. Especially that yeah, same two children born of the same mother within 12 months or less.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's
Well,
not
that's
cool.
cool as long as people from Ireland think it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what are you
I
drinking?
don't know. It doesn't
Entry
sound. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't sound derogatory or like
Yeah.
malintent.
Yeah, it's not
But
like the
yeah.
thing that it's about is like a bad thing. It's not like
Mm,
that. So I don't know.
mm.
We'll have to ask somebody from Ireland. If you're a watcher, viewer, listener from
Yeah, from
Ireland,
Ireland.
write in
Hit
and
us
tell
up.
us how offended you are. Scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. So what are you entry buzzing on?
So I had a pre-entry buzz.
Oh.
And now I have my entry buzz. So my
Okay.
entry buzz is, it sounds like a double entry buzz.
Ooh,
Which
double-edged
it
sword.
actually is what it is. This is Found North Batch 6.
Huh.
Similar, but I tell you what my pre-entry buzz was. Since my batch 9 was open,
Mm-hmm.
I
So
decided
you entry buzzed on batch 9.
technically, I decided to do a little blind
Okay.
where I didn't know which one was which, and I had batch 8, Helldiver, and batch 9.
Okay.
And so while I was, figuring out Whiskey World News and everything here before we
Ooh.
started the show, I was sipping all 3, and I wrote a couple notes on all 3 again without knowing which one was which at the time, and I picked my ranking, which one I liked the most, first place, second place, third place, and I will reveal that at the end when we're giving our ranking of batch.
Okay. So wait, I forget. Did you like Helldiver over Peregrine?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Oh. So now I'm seeing a trend here. I'm deducing this
Yeah.
real hard is that you put the two best of Found North against the newest. So that might mean they are actually contenders against each other. And my deducery tells me that with the way you smiled at the end of that you were like batch 9 all the way. Don't reveal it all yet. So
Detective
but
work.
I'm drinking
man.
7 and 8 right here.
Oh, nice. Cool. And
For the record, I'm joking, but mostly joking.
for the record, you were joking about your guesses for me?
No, I was joking about the smile, but I do deduce that you put up potentially like you thought that this is up there with batch 8 and Helldiver, and therefore was worthy to contend with those two in a blind.
So there actually was real logic behind it.
Oh, okay.
Where
Yeah, jerk. No, kidding. So
love you.
deducery.
So batch 8 is Madeira finished.
Mm-hmm.
Helldiver, I forget, but it is also red wine, and batch 9 is red wine.
Okay.
I have all 3 bottles right here, actually, because after we do some big sips of batch 9 here, I might want to try out the other ones. Batch 9 is ex Ruby Port, as you'll explain in the history, I'm sure. Batch 8 was Madeira. Helldiver was it was sherry and cognac. So with the sherry, all these were very sherry, cognac, Madeira finished, and batch 7 had no red wine in it, from my recollection. It had nothing like that at all.
Yeah,
so I picked these
Hungarian.
because they were all sherry, Madeira dealios.
Okay, but I'm still gonna believe what I deduce read.
Fair.
So I had a question. I had something to discuss, and this is rare that we have something that like is on my mind or on your mind, and we're like, let's talk about it, unless it were organic and a very good digression.
You're bringing a topic of conversation to the table.
I'm bringing a topic of conversation to a table. I brought up a term the other day, and it goes by FONDIA or FONDA.
Oh, yeah.
And that is fear of never drinking it again, or fear of never drinking again. But it sounds better because I'm going to drink again. But what if I never drink this again?
Yeah, but I like Fonda though. It's like Jane Fonda, isn't Jane Fonda like a 90s sex culture icon?
And Henry Fonda, he was an old school. He was in. You ever see 12 Angry Men?
No.
Great movie, old classic. It is about a courtroom, like a jury deliberation. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
and I think it's all like filmed in like the jury room the whole time, and it's all
nice.
I mean, heck, dude,
that's
it's
cool.
Like
Jane Fonda, now if I'm remembering correctly, was workout video lady.
I think she was actually Henry Fonda's daughter. I might be wrong on that.
Workout. Yeah. So yeah. Jane Fonda she had these workout videos that everyone loved. Everyone.
Oh, she looks like a workout woman.
She looks like she works out.
Well, these days, she looks great. Don't get me wrong. Jane Fonda looks great, but she is like officially 86 years old.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you going with this?
But no, she, classy lady. But Henry Fonda, her father.
Yeah. Henry Fonda, terrible workout videos. Terrible.
Yeah. It was all right. All right at best. But yeah, great movie. 12 Angry Men. It was in 1957 came out. So it's old. It's black and white too. So
cool. Nice.
Highly recommended though, especially for it's good. Like there's this scene in it, and I'm not going to give anything away, but it's just very it's like real. Like it's a good movie, decent movie. Nice. Especially for 1957. Actually, that says a lot because I've seen some older movies and they're like it's and I believe in the day, like in that old day, that it was like a good movie. But like, even I'm gonna say something that hurts a lot of people's feelings. Two things. James Bond movies and old James Bond movies. And what was the thing I was watching? Like I watched it's not that old, but it's pretty old. Rocky 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, this movie is like cool, but it also sucks. And I'm a Philadelphian. But I was like, I get how it's like this pump up movie, and maybe it was one of the first of its kind in that kind of way. But I thought it sucked as if Rocky came out in 2021 or 2024 even, it would just suck so much. Like it just wouldn't make it to theaters. Yeah. So like all that to say, old movies, if they're good, that's great. They probably won like an Academy Award or something like that.
And that makes sense though, because that's why, newer generations look at, their parents' stuff and they're like, what even is this?
Yeah.
It's because they have their new generation stuff that appeals to them naturally more than the old stuff. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. But this is not the Fonda that you wanted to talk about, right?
No. Let's get back to that.
Good tangent,
Re-railing
though.
this train.
I know.
So we probably have very different mentalities on Fonda, similar to FOMO, but very different. Fonda is this worry that if I finish this bottle, I will never drink it again.
Yeah.
And we had a little somewhat conversation with, especially Dramhound on Discord. And it's this idea that it's like, I just got a bottle of the best whiskey I've ever tried in my life. It came out literally 8+ years ago. And it was very valuable. It is very valuable. And I spent more than I've ever spent on a whiskey for that bottle. And I could crack it today. I could share it with all the peeps. Share it with you, share it with Dramhound, share it with everyone. I could bring it to the Chill Filtered meetup.
Oh my gosh.
However long that would be. And I actually would enjoy that. I love being generous with good whiskey. I love that kind of stuff. But the fear behind it is not the stinginess or anything. It's just this fear that maybe I will never sip this glory again.
Yeah.
Especially for an 8-year-old, highly coveted collection item of E.H. Taylor Seasoned Wood.
Yeah.
But what do you drink faster than I do, for one, and I drink on the weekends, and I choose very wisely which ones I'm drinking on the weekend, because I'm like, I only got a few days for this, and not to there's no background to that. I just have these crazy boundaries because I don't want to screw things up, and I don't want another problem in my life. Right. But you think differently. But my thought is like, I love this bottle, love it, but one day I will never. It's like that meme that's like, there's one day where you will never hold your child again, and that's scary, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
But yes, what do you think of that?
What do I think of that? I am very free and willing to open and enjoy. I am like could get in a car crash tomorrow kind of guy. So yeah, there's the only unopened bottle back here is this old Fitzgerald that like I don't even know why I haven't opened it yet. And like I'm gonna open it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like so I get something and I get it home and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm opening this right now, kind of thing. And I love, sharing stuff with friends. I love letting others get to experience other things too and everything. But I'll tell you what I do that helps me with my Fonda is I will pour reserve samples for myself that get bunkered away.
That's a great idea.
So that, the 13th colony, 15th anniversary that is on the complete opposite side of my head to where I'm pointing right now. I'll take that and I'll pour a sample, boom, stash it away. I know I've got a sample stashed away so I can enjoy bottoming out that bottle.
Yeah.
Or like, and if people come over and they want to try it, I've got a Blanton's Gold that has like this much left, and I brought it out on the bottle share night, and I'm like, guys, we have to kill this bottle tonight. It needs to go.
And people hesitate with almost empty bottles, so that that's good you do that.
Just like cycle it out. It's done. I've had my time. The time's over. And like, actually, this thought extends into things way more than whiskey too.
Yeah.
Of like, some people will keep household items in plastic so that they last longer, and I'm like, no, like I bought this to use it. It's gonna get dirty, it's gonna get dented and broken, it's gonna get a stain on the countertop, it's gonna that's part of life and using it, and it's just gonna happen, and it's
not like you're gonna sell the bottle.
So anyway, so that's my mentality with all this. The Fonda doesn't really exist to me because I try to focus on the fact that I enjoyed it for as long as I did.
So give me an example in your collection or prior collection, maybe it's finished by now, of a bottle that is as coveted as seasoned wood is to me.
Yeah, I've got George T. Stagg, and my first BTAC bottle I ever got. It's got like this much left in there,
Uh-huh.
and when I got it, it was a while back, 2 Christmases ago,
Mhm.
and the idea was like, "Oh, I'm gonna save this for, like, when my first child is born or
Yeah.
something." Obviously, that didn't happen. I was too excited to open it, and I just
Yeah.
ripped it open anyway, and I've
Mhm.
made my way through it now, and my first child is yet to be born, and there's, like, this much left. But, like,
Yeah.
to set my own like goals around a bottle where like
Mhm.
this will be fun to enjoy for that, as we've
Yeah.
discussed with your seasoned wood, is like
Mhm.
so now after Chickpea is born, and I'll have a pour of that, after we get
Yeah.
her home and stuff. But when I finish that bottle, I can think very fondly of like, this was the first I ever had, and this was something that I said I was going to wait, and then I didn't end up waiting, and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Which
And but
is
now that we're
nothing
here
wrong
at the
with.
point where I was going to wait, I can finally finish it, and so
Mhm.
I guess that's where I'm at with that.
I like that. And to defend myself, I don't really I don't sell bottles. If at all, I'm trading bottles. But I don't sell bottles. I also don't. I'm not like I said, I'm not like stingy. Like when you came over, we finished my George T.
Yeah,
Stagg from 2019 or
the
whatever.
first thing we
We
did
finished.
is drown that
Yeah,
out.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
finished the last of the sample from Sazerac of the Sazerac 18,
That was
stuff like
perfect.
that. Like I love those bottles. I hate to see them go, but it's also like when Brian's in town or when like some awesome people are in town and enjoy whiskey, I'm going to share that with them.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, like I said, if I cracked seasoned wood, it'd be like um I would enjoy it with others. Heck no, I wouldn't just enjoy it myself
Right.
and just, keep it all to myself.
Yeah.
And even the thought of like sharing it for like a chill filtered meetup bottle share is like exciting to me. But
Right.
I think you got a good point of like saving maybe a couple reserve bottles just in case there's something in the future where it's like, hey, you know what? I do pass all my exams and whatever, and then I go from there and just have
So
that there for then.
I've heard the reserve bottled idea.
Hmm.
I've heard plastic is not great
Okay.
around whiskey for long term
So
storage.
use a glass bottle with a glass top.
See, I know, right? You got to have a glass top. So even Boston rounds have that little
Mm,
plastic at the top.
yeah.
So anyway, don't count on it keeping like forever.
Yeah.
But I've gotten
It's gotta
to
be better than cork though, you'd think.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But I've been able to reap this reward of reaping what I sow here by
Mhm.
putting my reserve bottles away a couple times, where it's been super fun. Of this bottle I used to have finished a while back. I've got a reserve sample, but now I just got batch 9 or whatever.
Mhm.
And so it's like, but batch 9 is knocking my socks off. I wonder if
Mm.
this is as good as the previous one. So a time when the perfect like evaluation, something that's worthy of cracking the reserve sample to be able to do one last comparison to see how it stands up,
Yeah.
is the perfect reason to keep those reserve samples.
Yeah. True.
And that way you don't have a whole bottle taking up part of your shelf that has like this much left on
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, and then it's got tons of oxygen in the, mostly empty bottle.
Right.
And that's
So
probably not
and
good for the flavor.
and I know obviously we're going super long here, but the
Oh, we
most
are.
direct parallel is,
Uh-huh.
if it was me, and if it was me with the seasoned wood, I would have been too excited to not open it. I would have
Uh-huh.
I would have opened it. I'm not telling you what to do.
No, no,
I
no, no.
I would have opened it, and I would have tried it in celebration of my having obtained it. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
have
yeah.
opened it to try it and revel in it. But
Yeah.
then I would cork it, and well, I'd obviously pour out my reserve sample, but
Yeah.
I would cork it and I would put it away, and I would think about how I'm going to sip this once more when this
Yeah.
happens. And then it
Mhm.
sits there, and maybe oxidizes a little bit because you
Eh,
opened it, but
not a
it's kind of a
biggie.
good thing once you open it
Mhm.
and take a little bit out and let it sit for a
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, that's
No,
what I
that's
would do.
cool. Yeah. No, I might just It's good to talk about these things though, especially in the
For
whiskey
sure.
community, because there are some people that have Fonda and there are some people that are like, no, I'm just going to sell it one day, which I don't love.
Right.
Because things do typically appreciate, especially something like an E.H. Taylor special edition.
Right.
That's not my intention. And I got that 2014 Eagle Rare 17 at home too, and I got to find a good reason to crack into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, heck, like honestly, like there would be no better reason to open that bottle than a chill filtered meetup.
That's true.
So keep it on your potential feelers, listeners, because hopefully in the next month or two we will know when and where
Yeah.
that will be. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, I like that. We are going
And
long.
with
Uh-huh.
the Eagle Rare,
Mhm.
being the thing that got you into whiskey, that
Yeah.
has led to this moment where
Yeah.
we're having a viewer listener meetup and
Mhm.
maybe hopefully doing a barrel pick. Like
That's a really
that
good reason
bottle
to open it.
led you to this point.
Yeah.
So perfect opportunity to
Yeah.
open it up and everything.
Yeah. It's a beautiful bottle too. Just
Yeah.
got to get me more Eagle Rare 17s.
Don't
And
we
that's the
all?
thing is like, I don't need another 2014 of Eagle Rare 17, even if I finish
Yeah.
this one. But I am hopeful and like, have this feeling in my mind. Well, I will still drink Eagle Rare 17 in the future. The
Yeah.
hard thing is that seasoned wood, which came out once and done.
Well, and
Yeah.
and I said the EH or sorry, the Eagle Rare on purpose because
Mhm.
like that doesn't have a tie, a very personal, this is my child kind of tie thing.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
the season wood does have a child tie a little bit. So like obviously that's you and you need to do you and you don't need to bring that to a chill
That's
filtered
right.
meetup. But the Eagle
Yeah, yeah.
Rare though, you do. You do.
It's a good point. It's a good point. So, listeners, maybe I'll bring friggin' both.
Oh my gosh.
So, maybe just. I also have there's something that I'm definitely going to bring to my next or to the meetup, and it's that 1987 bottle of Wild Turkey 101.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Totally gonna
That's awesome.
yeah. Okay. We are going long. This might have been our longest shooting the breeze we've ever done.
Definitely.
But that's okay because I think it's time for a little walk break. We'll be right back after this break and we'll talk history. We're back. So we have some history this week. It's nothing too crazy, but let's get into it. Let's say, quick notes to get to. Congratulations, Brian, on Chickpea being born. By the time this has come out, yeah, you've been a father at this point. So, Found North batch 9. That's a
Oh, wait.
009.
No,
In
no,
case
no,
you're
no,
wondering,
no.
what's up?
Rewind.
Uh,
New Patreon subscriber.
that's right. Did we not
Joey
mention him
T,
yet?
baby. No, I don't think so.
Nice. Joey T, whiskey drinking friggin' panda. Yeah. Give me a moment. Give me a moment.
Ding this man.
Ding this man. And he's been a long time listener.
I know.
And Joey, your goodies will be sent your way very soon via courier.
Very good. Very good.
So thank you, Joey. We appreciate you. Thanks for hopping on. Found North batch 009. This is not our first Found North bottle we've drank. We did the first was a batch. It was batch 7, 007. That was episode 272. That was I think the first episode after Robbie was not the host.
Yeah, you did that by yourself, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
With me.
And me and Nick were hitting it off. I mean,
Yeah.
he's so easy to talk to, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that was episode 272, about 9 months ago. That's it. It was only 9 months ago we did our first
Crazy.
Found North episode.
I can't believe I've only been enjoying this brand for 9 months.
Seriously. Yeah. And so since then we've done batch 8 and we did for our Chili's Awards episodes, episode 287, we did Peregrine First Flight from their high altitude collection. More recently, we drank Helldiver First Flight for our 300th episode. So all cool, they all pretty much on like cool episodes.
Yeah.
And all that. But
except
Peregrine, I'm sorry, all but Peregrine and today's episode, we had Nick Taylor on for. And I'm hoping to have Nick on for their next release. And I imagine that'll work out. Nick's awesome.
Yeah.
Whether that be batch 10 or the next in the high altitude collection, they're putting out stuff pretty quick. I mean, we've done 4 whiskeys in less than a year. So they're putting out stuff pretty quick, which is awesome. I mean, they're on
Let me
batch 10
remind
and they've
you.
only been a company since what, 2021?
I can't remember.
It was somewhere like that. Yeah.
Let me remind you, he did say
Mhm.
maybe in 2024 there would be another high rye, another
Wouldn't be
majority
surprised.
rye release, and it will not be a high altitude. No, it won't be a batch. That's what he said. It won't be a batch number, but it will be a majority rye release. So that is interesting.
That is not overlapping with what we are drinking today. Therefore, there might be another release this year. At least one. Who knows?
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, heck, there could be more because they're putting out some crazy stuff crazy quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. Anyway, Found North and Found North Batch 9. So we're going to kind of keep this short and sweet as we have done many Found North bottles recently. But Found North is doing some impressive things in the whiskey world, starting with Canadian aged whiskeys, usually in the high teens at least. They're blending and finishing and putting together not only great whiskey, but very well aged whiskey. Batch 7 was known for its maturing in new American, ex-bourbon, and Hungarian oak barrels, being at a minimum 18-year and being 131 proof. Batch 8, on the other hand, was 18 years as well, matured in Madeira, new American ex-bourbon and Hungarian oak barrels, and that was a 124.4 proof. Now, the rest I'm going to be reading from their website. We did reach out to Nick Taylor on this, but we reached out really late in the game, so no worries, Nick.
Sir, he responded.
Did he?
Yes,
what
sir.
What a pro. What a baller. All right, let's do this.
Would you like me to pull that up now?
I got it right here, actually. So I'm just going to read from their website first, and then I'll follow up with what I asked Nick. Perfect. So it says Batch 9 is a celebration of age. What a baller to reach back so quick. I love that guy. The common dichotomy in whiskey is that either age is a be-all, end-all, or does not matter. The truth, unsurprisingly, is more nuanced. Old whiskey does not necessarily equal good whiskey, but old whiskey often presents flavors and textures that are unavailable within younger barrels of maturing whiskey. Batch 009 is our oldest batch to date, which is true. It's 19 years. I didn't expect it not to be true. But anyway, while the cornerstone of this blend is a 19-year-old rye. Dude, where else can you get a 19-year-old rye?
Outside of Canada.
yeah, exactly. Finished for over a year in ruby port hogsheads. You know what they say? Sherry butts drive me nuts, but hogsheads, ruby port hogsheads, they... Robbie would be able to like think of it right then.
I know.
Just be like, oh yeah, hogsheads are bogs feds.
Nailed it.
Yeah, totally nailed it. He's gonna hit me up too, and he's like, I immediately thought of this, and I'm like, well, I'll bring it up next time. He's great at that. He's so quick. Anyway, the foundation is a triplet of 23-year-old corn components, 2 of which were aged in new American oak and 1 in bourbon barrels. We use 2 additional 19-year-old whiskeys, 1 corn and 1 rye, as well as a 22-year-old corn and 26-year-old corn component to round out the rest of this 8 whiskey tapestry. The resulting blend is a dynamic and fragrant and easily the thickest whiskey we've ever made. I dig that. And to go skip a little down on the website, it said why we made this whiskey. He said, as whiskey lovers, we are enchanted by whiskeys that have spent decades resting and evolving in their respective casks. There is a undeniable magic in old whiskey. In truth, an 8 whiskey batch is not something we would have attempted in previous releases. However, as we continue down this path, we have developed an intimate familiarity with our components. This whiskey was perfect for the batch process, where we blend fully matured components. It allowed us the precision to weave these extra age whiskeys together to create a composite that both honors the complexity of the individual whiskeys and celebrates the unique layering of flavors that form the final blend. So I reached out to, so that was what it said on the website, but I reached out to Nick, and Nick hit us up within like 2 hours. Wow, what
Yep.
a baller, man.
I know,
All right.
right? Yeah,
So I
he's
asked
got
him, I said,
good quotes
basically,
here.
is there anything you want to say about this release or this batch that wasn't on the website? And anything maybe anything like how it may compare to 7 or 8 or other releases and what he might have adjusted in retrospect. So he says, hey, Cole, thanks for reaching out, and it's no trouble at all. Baller. Here's what I would say. Batch 9 was really enormously fun to make. We were inspired by 7 and 8. With 7, we had the opportunity to use old corn components in the way that really enhanced the fruit quality of the blend, and in particular, use the 24-year-old 1998 vintage corn to shape the foundation of the whiskey. In 9, we were wholly focused on encircling and enriching the qualities we achieved with the Madeira finished rye we used. He said, in the case of batch 9, we combined the lessons we learned from those whiskeys. We used a port finished rye instead of Madeira, and that gave us rich fruitiness that we loved. But we also used a lot of corn components in a similar way to batch 7 to create a lovely foundation of texture for the whiskey. We also were obsessive about getting the right combination of corn components. As much as this whiskey was structured around the port finished rye, the diversity of flavor and the way that they integrated had everything to do with the corn components. Thank you, Nick Taylor. We love you. What we're drinking today, batch 9, bottled at 124.6 proof. Blend of whiskeys, of course, mentioning the cornerstone of the blend was rye. Does that mean it's the majority? Not necessarily. I think flavor-wise is what Nick's talking about, I imagine. Correct me if I'm wrong to think that. Do you think it's mostly rye? Oh, you're muted, Brian. So let's bring it back on.
I will explain why I was muted later.
That's
but
funny.
it is
big
90.
Fart.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, for the last like minute and a half.
Yeah.
91% corn, 8% rice. So
there we go. Totally.
It's
Yeah.
definitely
But it's like the
flavor-wise.
flavor center of the whiskey.
Yep. Because it's like a really fun stat that he's explained in the past where those cornerstones that they try to, like the Madeira on batch 8 and everything,
Totally.
that Madeira, that rye that was aged in Madeira only made up like 4% or 7%. I can't remember what it was, but it was less than 10% of the final blend. But that flavor was so unique and interesting that they wanted to try to round out and balance out that flavor to be the most interesting thing about the release compared to everything else. So definitely flavor wise.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah. The next line I didn't even realize on my notes was 91% corn, 8% rye, 1% malted barley. It is non-chill filtered. Hey, that's not the name of the podcast.
Boo. I mean,
no additives, natural color. There was a larger outrun on this one. 6,253 bottles set aside.
Nice. That's does the bottle count? Did they say the bottle count on the bottle? No, they don't. But I know they say it online though. But that's a large release. I mean, they're scaling up well.
Yeah, they really are. And it's good. And he says it's harder to scale up, says Nick.
Yeah.
It's like harder to deal with the blends when you're scaling up that much.
I mean, of course it is. Yeah, just it's your inverted pendulum analogy. And the bigger you go, the more that pendulum wants to just slam to one side. Yeah.
Overall, 19 to 26-year-old whiskeys. And that's whiskeys without an E, except for the plural has an E. But they go with the Canadian standard, which is whiskey without an E.
I didn't know that was the Canadian standard. Nice.
Yeah. It's weird. Every country's different. Canada is without an E. America's typically with an E. Ireland is with an E. Scotland is not with an E.
That's right.
Japanese is without an E, and Indians typically without an E.
without. Oh, so US and Ireland are the only E's, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's right there in the URL too. Foundnorthwhiskey.com has no E on it.
No E, baby.
No E, baby.
Overall, aged in Ruby Port, New American, Used American, and Hungarian oak barrels. And that is the history or the background. So I'm going to crack this John piece.
Yeah. Let's get some whiskey ASMR going here. Oh, I talked over it. Dang it.
Oh, it's all good. I didn't even realize that.
You got a cork
All
pop
right,
though.
let's pour this John. And they still do the wax, and I think Nick will always do the wax, which I love. It's kind of super classy, even with their sample bottles.
Nick said it was his idea and everybody hated him for it because it's so difficult to
extra
do.
Work. Yeah. All right, I'm excited because like I said, I entry buzzed on batch 7 and 8. Love me some batch 8. Love me some batch 7, but batch 8 was my favorite batch. And actually, I think batch 8 is my favorite altogether. Found North product. Well, let's get into it. 19 years, baby.
Dang. Very jammy nose. Super fruit on the nose. That's what I was getting.
Jam is a good word. It's not like specifically like fresh berries or anything like that, but it's definitely fruity, but in a berry way as opposed to like an apples or pears kind of way. But not, it's like sweet, extra sweet berries. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Definitely has that thickness and the heft that you'd expect.
Yeah.
In terms of flavor from Found North, that's all spot on without a doubt.
Holy crap. First sip, that might have beat batch 8.
Yeah, nice. So wow. I am working on some shenanigans over here, and this is why I muted my mic earlier. I looked at I hopped up and I went and got my espresso scale. And I'm a huge.
Are you blending?
No, I'm not blending, but so I have an Acaia Lunar espresso scale, which is like ridiculous. And it it weighs ounces to the 1,000th place.
Dang. That's 3 zeros, everyone.
I was looking at the back of the bottle and I was reminded of the manager's proof. Or wait, what are they? Is it manager proof?
Yeah, he says that. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. The batch 9 manager's proof, add 0.2 milliliters of water to 50 milliliters of the whiskey. So I got my espresso scale and I got close, and I'm pouring by hand here. And 50 mils is 1.69 ounces. Yeah. And I'm at 1.66. So I will add 4 drops of this because each drop of water is 0.05 milliliters. And I will do the manager's proof when we go water here. But anyway, all that monologuing while Cole was hopefully sipping. You still think it beats batch 8?
Yeah, beats batch 8. Well done, Found North. Outdid yourselves again.
Okay, can you tell me why it beats?
Okay, yes. So I will dig into that in a moment. So the first impression, and I'm really going to dig into it after this. First impression, this is way more fruity. Way more like I loved the sour tinge of like grapey sour tinge of batch 8. So good. So beautiful. This is brighter on the fruitiness. The fruit is stronger. So like more potent, more like white sugar bright, but also it envelops the whiskey even more. But I will dig into that a little more. But that alone beat batch 8. Batch 8, the reason I love batch 8 was that sweet, soury, grapey note that really balanced well with the rest of the components. This beat that, and therefore batch 9 is better than batch 8 for me.
I I love the sour call out. Like I didn't place that myself, but now that you say that, it's exactly what it is. And the only the only way to get that sour is for the palate to not be overtaken by the sweet, creamy corn component.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so it remains thin and it's not too creamy and it's not too floral, so that
Yeah.
that thinness helps the fruit, the ruby port,
Yep.
give you that side of the tongue sourness towards the end. I think that the complexity of this is off the charts.
Yeah.
I think that the finish is maybe my favorite Found North finish to date, because it lasts a really long time and all it is flavor. The intensity releases you.
Yeah.
Your mouth isn't overcome by intensity, and it's not hot per se, but the flavors remain for like minutes afterwards, and that's why it is absolutely delicious.
Man, it is so bright. Like batch 7 wasn't like batch 7 and 8. Batch 8 was more bright, and it's weird because that doesn't make sense, but I think most people get what I mean. Like, it's like when I look at a brightness, I think typically ryes, like candy ryes, are more bright than caramely bourbons. If you're getting more white sugar notes as opposed to brown sugar notes, that's more bright to me. This is fruity bright. Not so. So sometimes I can get berry notes on like wild turkey products, especially like Russells. But this is sharply fruity, and yet has a really great mouthfeel to it. It like you were talking about with the with that corn creaminess, it's there,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah.
also a mixture between that corn creaminess and bright berries.
Yep.
Well
The balance is spot on. The balance is spot on. I think I'd like to think I would identify that the intent of this batch was to have fruit,
mhm.
but
Especially
it
with the
isn't.
ruby port.
Yeah, it is not overwhelmingly so. And like how batch 7 is very like buttery and thick and floral,
Yeah.
this has elements of that too, but not too much, so it all stays very well in balance. And I now this very full Glencairn over here is manager's proof, so I've
Okay.
added a little bit of water. I've added approximately 0.2 mils to my 50 milliliter pour.
How many drops are in a mill?
0.02
Oh wow. So
mils.
you got to do a
Oh, I'm
portion of a drop.
0.05 mils per drop, and you want 0.2 mils, so it was
Oh
four
wow.
drops.
Gotcha.
4 drops in a 50 mil pour, and you are drinking like Nick Taylor.
I'm into unit conversion. Here we go. I just dropped a few drops in this, and I have a good feeling about this one.
I'm more of the depth, more deep notes and less fruit notes on the
I'm
nose
with you.
with a little bit of
The
water.
corn shows up a little more. It's you could sense the oak. And here's the other thing: the neat pour didn't have strong oak to me. To me. Which you would expect from a 19 to 26-year whiskey to be too strong oak.
Dude, this is so good.
Is it? Okay.
Okay. Not to say that it's just tremendously better than the neat pour, but just like overall, this is so good.
My
Um,
goodness, that is good. It might actually beat the neat port for me.
I do get more oak on the palate. I wish I could. Well, maybe I could show you these legs a little bit.
Yeah, you
Um,
can.
I got legs all over the place over here.
Legs for
Yowza.
days.
But it's. I think I get more oak and definitely more of the rich depth.
Um,
Like this is the idea of Helldiver was, if Peregrine was the angel, Helldiver's the devil kind of thing.
uh-huh.
This is more depthy to me than Helldiver is actually. Yeah, I really enjoy this.
This is good. And the mouthfeel, great with water. Talk about creamy. That's good. I'm intrigued. Have you tried this with ice yet?
Mm-mm.
Have you tried it with water until now?
Not until now.
Nice. We're all about new.
The
All right.
finish
I
is
just added the
so good.
tiny cube.
The finish is so good. It is gentle with you. Man, these like I
Whisper
feel
sweet nothings into your ear.
these notes are so weird. I normally don't get this weird with tasting notes, but Found North just does this to me. It's so elegant and gentle that like as the finish just goes and goes, it's just sweet and it's oak and it's a little bit of red fruit and it's no sort of burn or intensity at all as it continues. It's delicious. You went ice though, right?
Just when ice.
All right, I'll do
It's
that.
good. I don't think. Yeah, there's a slight bitterness. Doesn't overtake the pour, but it definitely makes it the least of the three pours to me.
Slight bitterness. How's the viscosity?
It's viscous.
Okay. I like when it stands up with viscosity on ice.
I don't know if
That's
it's more viscous than the water pour. It might be.
That's usually my number one concern when it comes to ice is how's the viscosity? Like, did it turn into like wood tea water? Obviously, I wouldn't expect that with Found North, but
yeah, it's not. It's good. Like this would still pass, like for a great whiskey, but not my favorite of the three. In fact, my least favorite of
the bright, like high register notes really pop with ice.
Yeah.
And I actually get a little bit of citrus, almost like a orange oil when you squeeze an orange peel and it just kind of like spritzes out. I get that on the nose with ice.
When on the nose, I got a slight at one point. I got a very short-lived note of like good root beer. It's weird, but like a really depthful root beer for a moment. But I wouldn't say this tastes like root beer, and I really wouldn't even push that note too far. But I got a glimpse of it at one point.
Yeah, ice is nice. Ice is gets lost among other whiskeys territory. Like it loses its uniqueness with ice, but it is delicious. I would sip this on the patio right now, and it's like 104 outside right now. Like with ice, it's totally delicious, but it loses the unique factor.
Yeah. Huh. So, before I get to the scores, where do you rank this in your Found North repertoire now?
Thank you.
Yeah, and how did your blind go?
Yeah. Okay. So I got my notes here from my blind. In last place, sounds so bad.
In last of the 3 or 4.
Yeah, last place of my top 3 favorite Found North batches. I said that the nose was more rye and herbal, and it had the heaviest palate, but there was very good creaminess. But of the 3, it was the most floral, and that last place went to Helldiver, believe it or not. So Helldiver to me had the heaviest palate, and it was the most like floral of the bunch. Second place, medium viscosity. Or no way, I should do like the Miss America pageants. Okay, so skip 2 and go to first place. So
screw second place.
Yeah, right. Skip right over. First place, I wrote best nose, red fruitiest, maximum. Okay, and then now onto the palate. Maximum fruit with a thinner mouth feel, yet somehow the most complex of the 3. Darker, deeper flavors with some earthy tobacco and a long, very fun finish. And of course, this was batch 9 was first place for me.
It's your first or your favorite, or at least of those 3, but you've already said Helldiver and batch 8 were the best of the
Yep.
best for Found North. So we got a
Of
new
course.
number one, everyone.
I think so. Well, so
Yep.
and now let me say, so for batch 8, my palate notes,
Uh-huh.
like medium viscosity, good fruit. It's very well balanced. I thought batch 8 was, so I did like it more than the Helldiver, which again I did last time too, I believe.
Yeah.
But on the open bottle night that I had recently, I sipped all 3 of these, but I did it back to back. I didn't do them next to each other. And back to back, I still put 8 over 9 for me.
Oh, interesting.
And actually, I want to say I did 8 Helldiver 9 when I was sipping this the other night. But anyways, I was very honed in and very concentrated today. I feel really good about this because I think that this is terrific, and it placed number 1 today. So it was very good.
If I didn't have a very sensitive mic in front of me, I'd give Found North a round of applause because they keep outdoing themselves. They keep bringing it higher.
Don't want to.
I mean that.
We could edit in an entire auditorium's worth of applause.
Yeah, I should find a golf clap round of applause. Nick, keep it up. Zach, keep it up. Phil and what's the master blender guy's name? Sammy.
Oh, Sam. Yeah.
Is it Sam or Sammy? Okay, yeah.
It says Sammy a lot.
You guys are killing it. Keep it up. It's fun to be a part of this because not every distillery keeps hitting their marks. Some start losing it. And it's fun to be a part of this growth from Found North, and not part of it, it's like be a part of the watching it amazingly happen.
Right.
Where they just keep killing it.
Found North graciously allows us to be part of it as we cheer from the sidelines.
And Nick would totally say that too. He'd be like, no, you guys are part of it. And we're like, no, we're not, but thank you.
Yeah. And a little shout out to our Discord here. So reach out to us, join our Discord, because the other day Nick Taylor popped in.
Yeah.
And our buddy Patrick, probably newest member newest member to the Patreon, or sorry, newest member to the Discord.
But he could be.
Yeah, I know. Patrick posted some reviews of his like Peregrine that he's had in the past and everything, and Nick chimed in and gave him a round of applause for his eloquent reviews of Peregrine and how it made him feel and everything. So Nick's chiming in over on the Discord.
Yeah, I loved Patrick's quote of like basically we were talking about how Found North can use very smooth and eloquent language in their description, and basically Nick chimed in and he's like you should have seen what I originally had. It was way more like descriptive in a funny way. And then Patrick chimes in and he's like, all you could say was it's good and I would still buy 3 of them.
I know, me too.
We all laughed at that. Yeah. And hey, there's something to be said about batch 9 that we didn't have to fight for it. It was kind of just slipped in there. Hey, you didn't win Helldiver.
I know.
But you did win a chance. Right now, we're still selling batch 9 pre-orders. So that was awesome.
Am I making this up? But did they say something to the effect of like, we plan on doing this again in the future too, where we do a lottery or we allow people to pre-order under certain conditions kind of thing? That. Did you see something like that? Remember. Yeah, but anyway, I love that they're trying new things. I love that they're trying different things with the distribution process. Yeah, so far, thumbs up from me.
And shout out to Chris Riesbeck. A great marketer of good whiskey. So, and shout out to us because one day we're going to be doing a Found North pick. So keep an eye out, listeners and viewers.
That's
and
what
everyone.
They told us.
I mean, that's like in the works. So
there's a list and we are on it.
We are big on that list. So, no, that's it. Scores, ratings.
Right.
I'm going to give this an A+.
Obviously.
But what will I give it? So here's the thing. It's like this beat out batch 8, and I gave batch 8 a pretty good score. I'm just going to say a 6.8. 6.8.
Excuse me?
6.8.
Excuse me?
Oh no, 9.68. Yeah, that's what I meant. You're like
Okay,
what?
good.
And I'm like,
Dude, I would
what?
have said it. I would have said excuse me all day.
Yeah. I was like, let me think about what I just said. 9.68.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my letter score deal in that, like, I like the buckets. Obviously, this deserves A
Mm,
plus.
yeah, but you can tie at A plus.
I don't want to try to nitty gritty get into
Yeah.
like this is better than that or whatever, outside of doing blinds for assessment and everything.
Yeah.
So I can confidently say that like I blinded this,
Yeah.
and it did stand out today
Mhm.
over Helldiver and Batch 8.
But some
on a
days are different.
Exactly. On a previous day, I didn't do
Mhm.
them all at the same time. I did them sequentially. And when I got to batch 9, I like my sentimentality towards it was the lesser of the group. But
Mhm.
like today, drinking, I was able to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Mhm.
And I honed in on batch 9 being number 1 today. So I
That's
do
cool.
believe batch 9 is my favorite of the bunch so far.
Nice. Yep. That's sweet. All right. Now that we've talked about ratings, we talked about scores, we can move on to our next segment of the show, one that we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Whiskey World News segment, and today we're not reading an article. We are talking about Matt Madness. Let's talk about Matt Madness. Cole, have you heard the news? He has chosen the brackets or chosen the seeds or whatever the word is. I'm not a sports guy, but I think I vaguely understand how this works now after much Googling. So first off, did you see that you are in the same stepladder
As John
as
Hughes?
John Hughes?
Yeah.
So if John Hughes steps his way up, he will challenge you.
Wait. So that's how it works? I thought, whoa, wait, how does that work?
So this is what we're talking about here today. So I would love
I
to
thought
hear
he
how
was in the
you think it
same
works.
first matchup as me.
No, I
Okay.
believe that's not
Okay.
correct.
Sweet.
Now, I was watching the Matt Porter live stream the other day, and I was like, "Please explain how the tournament works." And he didn't. And like, I'm not a sports guy, so I didn't understand. But I did some Googling afterwards, and so there are number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seeds, and then there are 4 groups. And so he gave the groups names of the number 1 seeds. So like there's the Josh group, the Dara group, David, Trev. These are all other content creators who were the number 1 seeds. But then below them are the people that are in their group. And now it sounds to me, if I'm understanding this correctly, and by the way, what Matt Porter, while I was doing a bunch of research and I saw that there's a lot of like bowling connections here, and I know that Matt's like big into bowling. So apparently bowling tournaments do these like stepladder tournaments a lot. And I'm just now realizing I should have reached out to my sports buddy Josh about this. He probably could have just explained everything to me in like a minute. But
that's funny.
So John Hughes is the number 6 seed. Number 5 seed is the Bourbon Retriever. Number 4 is Average Joe's, and number 3 is you. So I believe that these are a bunch of head-to-head matches where number 6 battles number 5, and then whoever wins battles number 4, and then whoever wins
1-to-1.
Yes.
Whoa.
Leading up to the finals, where I mean he can do whatever he wants with the finals. I know that the 2 guys are in no matter what at the final level.
That might make it go faster. Like it will be a full episode. It won't be a full night of 4 people total.
Exactly. And like that's where like my confusion lies also is like how does this work? Like is he really gonna like put up a bunch of hour-long episodes where there's just 2 guys on there battling it out, and there's gonna be like
do one night of Josh's column.
And then
one night of Dara's column.
So anyway, we'll see. I have yet to see an official announcement of how this works, but by my understanding is if John Hughes beats out Bourbon Retriever, and then
Average
beats
Joe's.
out Average Joe's. Then he'll
And
beat out you.
John and Cole, baby.
Yeah. And he'll
John.
y'all will step your way up, and you'll battle Josh as the number 1 seed, and then whoever wins against the number 1 seed gets put into the finals. And
Here's
that's how
the
that works.
thing about the voting that they did is like Dara didn't make it far last year, for example. I don't know about the other ones.
Really?
So they were just voted as first seed because they were more popular. It's not that they were like better. So like it's really like last year's results were very different than this year's setup.
Mm-hmm.
So not many of these people made it 3 rounds.
But this guy right over here,
he and may only not lost by 1 point in the 3rd round.
You got to work on that popularity vote, bro.
That's true.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I love you.
It's so funny because like every time I went into that competition, I thought this is a fluke. Like I'm not good at this. I just got really lucky. And then eventually by the 3rd episode where I lost by, or the 3rd, competition where I lost by literally 1 point and beat out last year, the prior year's champion. I was like, maybe I am good at this. And heck, we've been practicing with the reentry buzz. So
yeah. Anyway, I'm in my own seat over here. We got Wade Bourbon Hall. We got Bourbon Bill against me working their way up the ladder. Dude. And then I've got to beat Big Vic, Jeff, and Dara in order to make my way into the finals. So.
Dude, you got this. Like I'm worried about you. I'm not worried about anyone else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hope my proofometer is on point that night.
What's that?
Hoping my proofometer is on that night.
Now you got to really hone in on the next little bit because you got to get your strategy down. Like, because like for me, strategy was go with your gut, and it worked well. But now I'm like, should I go with my gut? But yeah,
definitely, I'm 100% with you on the go with your gut. But what I prefer, which I believe is contrary to you, is I prefer spreading wide. I want to guess age independently. I want to guess proof independently. I want to guess other things independently. And I don't want to just think like, okay, boom, this is this bottle. So I'm going to say exactly what the proof of that bottle is and exactly what the age of that bottle is. And so I don't want to go all in that sense.
So do you know the difference in taste between an Irish whiskey and a Scotch?
I think I do.
Yeah.
Typically I get a lot more
round 1.
Tropical fruits, if you will, with the
100%.
Irish. I should have said with the Scotch.
Even Jameson has notes of tropical fruit.
Oh, really?
So like every Irish whiskey has like these especially nicer Irish whiskeys.
Yeah.
But like to me, every Irish whiskey is recognizable.
Right. By the
round 1.
By the fruit. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And this is the candidate for longest episode ever almost. What whiskey would you choose? So sliding right into what whiskey would you choose?
Do it.
We asked you, listener, viewer, if you're on YouTube, what whiskey would you choose to celebrate the birth of your first child? And on Instagram, people voted on the poll and they said between the 2 choices of Pappy 15 and E.H. Taylor Seasoned Wood, E.H. Taylor Seasoned Wood won.
By how much? What was the percentage difference?
The percent was 62 to 38.
Oh, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but it's also a clear separation here where people are like, Pappy 15, yeah, whatever. I want to go with like a super special, super unique E.H. Taylor release. So that's pretty cool.
Do you have your Pappy 15 sample stored away for the hospital?
It is literally in the bag, like in with all my clothes in a room down the hallway over there.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, I went out of my way to go ahead and just buy a Glencairn 2-pack like travel case thing.
I got one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like felt inside. You know what I'm talking about?
Robbie got one of those. A few like, Christmases back.
Yeah, and it's like cylinder. It's a cylinder, and
you
it's
can
very
latch it.
Yeah, and it's like bottle sized. So what if you were to like take a bunch of bottles somewhere, not to the hospital? Don't take a bunch of bottles to the hospital. What are you, crazy?
That's crazy.
So it like slots right in with like other bottles and like a carrier case and everything. So it's perfect. But
no, it's
anyway, I went ahead and grabbed one of those. I got the Pappy 15. I've got the Ben Klepsig
Asian or?
Dalmore 18 sample.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if Sam so desires a small whiskey pour in the hospital, she can try the Dalmore 18.
That's a good idea.
I actually have been holding that sample for the entire time just for that.
That's cool.
Anyway, so thanks again for that. But so I've got Glencairns, I've got the Pappy 15. We're good to go. But your average viewer would not have the Pappy 15. Your average viewer would have the E.H. Taylor Seasoned Wood. So congratulations to you, Cole.
Thank
we got
you.
a couple.
I
Got a couple
I
write-ins.
hype it up.
Yeah, you got to open that sucker first.
That's true.
But we got
Maybe
some
I'll have another
write-ins.
kid.
Yeah, do that and then open the Seasoned Wood. Is perfect.
I'll need a seasoned wood after that.
That's true. Yeah, you can't afford a seasoned wood after that.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure. It's a double or catch 22.
Right. Yeah. Good thing you got the one you got now. Good thing I bought my MacBook now. Good thing, money spent before child is,
Exactly.
it's all written off. Whiskey with Max wrote in. He said, if I could find it at the 1962 Springbank 30-year white label.
Wow.
This is beyond my comprehension. White label.
Oh, wow. That's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah. That's a go-to. Like, I mean, heck, if I found a bottle of that, I would want it. I'm sure it's amazing. Right? So Max, reach out. Have you ever tried it, or is it just like lore?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. It's just like I saw this one time in one place and it had a $30,000 price tag on it. yeah. But we got a write in from Madtown Marketer. He says King of Kentucky. And I agree. I'm King of Kentucky is like end all be all.
But it did not let me down.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Did you do an episode on King of Kentucky?
Yeah, that was a Brandon Hunt joint actually.
Oh,
he sent that
very
one
cool. Very cool. Whiskey Drinking Panda, our newest Patreon subscriber, says Makers 46. I had just started my whiskey journey when number 1 came. That's a great, very good, like solid all around whiskey that you like. If you ever want to celebrate something about that child in the future, you'll always be able to find that whiskey again. So that's kind of perfect. But
that's cool.
Drew Toland, we got Drew in here. He says, I did a 2018 William LaRue Weller for my daughter, 2020 King of Kentucky for my son, and a Heaven Hill 17 for my third. So Cole, if you ever need another amazing bottle in the future, you should reach out to Drew Toland. Goodness.
Drew, how are you getting those bottles? But you aren't a Patreon subscriber yet. I'm joking, Drew. But
the guilt.
Yeah, no. I reached out to him as a message. I'm like, dude, those are baller bottles, dude. Like those are crazy like options and so good for you.
That's awesome. Now we know who to outsource our bottle finding to. So that's perfect for the upcoming drink along samples. So next week I probably won't be here. Hopefully I won't be here. Next week we're asking you, what whiskey disaster has struck you or your friends? So I want to hear. I got this sweet bottle today and I got home, and when I got out of the car I dropped it in the garage. And so for me it's you or your friends. Doesn't have to be you, because fortunately I don't have any garage dropping bottle stories. But I was at a friend's house and we had a Glenfarclas 25, a 25-year-old Scotch, and the cork, just like when I pulled it out, the top went one way and the bottom went the other way, and it just dropped straight into the bottle. And I was like, y'all might want to filter this cork out of here, because this 25-year-old
filter this cork out.
yeah. Don't do that. Not the name of the podcast.
Not the name of the podcast.
Cork disintegrating into a bottle is what mine is. So Cole, what you got?
So I got 2. One is technically a brandy, but you'll understand why I'm going to mention this story. But I'll talk about the other one first. The other one was my friend Trent, one of my best friends of all time. He was in my wedding. I was in his wedding. For his wedding, I got him a Elmer T. Lee. So nothing too crazy, but also like, hey, this is a big deal bottle.
Yeah.
And he said that on his way in, after he got back from his honeymoon, walking into his house, he dropped it in the parking lot of his apartment complex or wherever it was that yeah. So he never got to drink it. And it was like this gift bottle. But the other one, when I worked at the bar, there were only a few mentions of people while I worked there that ever dropped a bottle. And one guy, his name was Taylor, dropped the bottle of Louis the 13th.
Oh man,
which is like $10,000 bottle.
Yeah.
And luckily it was only like a third full, but he was like, yeah, it took me like 3 weeks to tell the boss man that I did that. Like, how often do you even see Louis the 13th, let alone
Louis that's the correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the one where they sell like a 50 milliliter bottle of it too.
That's like they do.
It's a mini version of the full size bottle. It looks like a big donut. It's a big like circular like donut shaped thing. Yeah. I see that at Total Wine, but the 50 ml version is like $2,700 or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it's what is it? Remy Martin? Yeah, Remy Martin. Let me see. Louis the 13th.
Yeah. I will say
mil?
of all
they do a 50 mil. And how much is the 50 mil? Let's find out. About $800.
Oh, that's I thought
50 mil.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Well, far too much for liquid that you're supposed to imbibe. But anyway, ETL though, Elmer T. Lee dropping in the parking lot. Of all the bottles you could drop and break in a parking lot, I'm on board with dropping and breaking in Elmer T. Lee in the parking lot.
Why is that?
Because it is not one of my favorite whiskeys I've ever had.
So I've given a few like wedding gifts, and that's the only one that's broken. But one of the ones I gave was George T. Stagg one year, and luckily that guy enjoyed it for years.
Thank you. Good. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to Steven Wetzel.
Let's just say if we were gonna make a YouTube video where we tried to be super sensational and we were like, Brian busts this bottle on the parking lot. He gets it at Total Wine and just like chucks it up in the air.
Throw it on the ground.
I would want to do that with Elmer T. Lee because value to actual
like
goodness is the most skewed, in my opinion.
That's
most
true.
skewed.
But like the retail is also, like I said, like $40. So it's not like you're losing a lot if you buy it at retail.
Yeah. And by the way, I heard your threw it on the ground reference. Was that a Lonely Island?
Andy Samberg?
Yeah.
Not exactly, but I am very familiar with that short.
I like that one. I threw it on the ground.
Yeah.
That's not my world. That's a cell phone.
Yeah, it's so good. So, okay, yeah. I talked about my college videos.
Yeah.
That we redid that one. It's on like Vimeo, and I've never really been able to find it, but we did one on like a remix of the Threw It on the Ground.
Just another reason to join our Discord server. Send us a message, ask for an invite so we can send you an invite to the Discord server, because then you'll see where Cole, hopefully soon, posts a link to that video.
Yep. So, well, that's okay. So yeah, those are our answers. We want to hear from you guys. It might be a little longer. Feel free to message us if you have a longer answer to that.
Oh yeah,
but we want to hear the bottle, and we want to hear what happened.
Yeah, so, more elaborate story, the better.
And we want to hear whose story was better, me or Brian's. So, and you can go with let's go with the Elmer T. Lee, not the Louis the 13th, for the record.
Very good, very good.
So
next week, I believe you may have a very special guest on. Actually, a guest that in a way that you will explain a story of later is a very esteemed guest. Yes.
Dude, he is, I gave it away. It's a man, but he is so esteemed.
He's so esteemed. In fact, a state government official recognized his esteeminess.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll find out more about that next episode. But keep an eye out, listeners. Keep an ear out. It's going to be a fun one. I assure you of that. But Brian, hope that everything goes well.
I hope that everything goes well too on my end, and I hope everything goes well on your end. I hope you have fun with whoever you do shows with in the future until I come back. I absolutely plan to come back and want to come back and enjoy this very much, as you can tell with my newly renovated backdrop behind me. So please bear with us as I learn to become a dad.
No, for sure. And I hope I can beat you one last time for the near future on the re-entry buzz that we're recording right after this. But most of all, listeners, I hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits.
It's not like I didn't love my child.